Welcome to this episode of Think Business. I'm looking forward to talking with Fred Fisher, president of Fisher Consulting Group. Fred, it's great to connect with you. I appreciate you being on the show. You've got a great company. You've been doing it for a long, long time. You have a book, Claims Made Insurance. But, after reading your bio, I want to start backwards.
Sure.
And so one of the things you talk about is that you grew up with an educated palate. You actually have a cookbook called The Joys of Spice. But you also spent time in France and convinced a local restaurant to teach you how to cook.
Yes.
That's sales. That's sales. And so, this is called Think Business and Sales. And there's a gourmet diner by my house that I always tell my wife, I want to go work there. I want to learn how to cook. It's like a short order gourmet diner. So how did you sell the idea to, have the opportunity, and what did you learn about cooking that you then merged into business?
Well, when I was 17 years old, I got to spend the summer in France at Grenoble, at the University of Grenoble. And we were supposed to be studying French there. And it was a high school kind of thing. But in my high school, it was total immersion French. Not a word of English was allowed from day one. And as a result, we get there and it's all translating. We had two, hour and a half long classes in the morning. And so we had to get up really early. And one class was translating from French to English, and the next class was English to French. It's like, what?
That's a lot.
What is this? Right. And so the bus stop to get from downtown Grenoble back to the dorms was right in front of this restaurant. There actually were two restaurants. One's called Restaurant du Midi, and the other one was La Normandie. And I ate at both, and I found that La Normandie was much better. And back then, this is 1967.
Yeah.
So back then, the dollar was king. I mean, people were literally writing books on how to travel Europe on $5 a day. So I went in there, got friendly with the owners. They didn't speak a word of English. And one day I asked them, would they be willing to teach me French cooking in the middle of the afternoon between lunch and dinner? And that's what they agreed to do. So they were teaching me all these dishes, boeuf bourguignon, coq au vin, etc. And of course, along with French food goes French wine. So here I'm a 17-year-old kid. I got excused from all my other classes. I got to sleep in the morning. In the afternoon, I'm getting drunk while I'm learning how to cook.
Right. That's a great story. And so what did you learn? What did you learn about business at 17 in that experience?
Well, that was very interesting because number one, I brought in a lot of business there, and so they liked me for that. But I also learned a little bit about accounting, and they showed me how this was working and how to analyze, what your overhead costs are, and how to translate that into something where you could make a reasonable profit and still compete, so to speak.
Yeah.
I mean, this was not a gourmet restaurant or Michelin starred by any stretch. It was just good local French.
Yeah.
You couldn't get more authentic than that.
Yeah.
And of course, did I forget to mention their 19-year-old daughter that was home from the Sorbonne that summer?
That's another podcast. That's
another topic for another
right.
day. Yeah.
So
but it was very interesting to see how that all worked.
Yeah. So you take that and somebody gives you a shot, an opportunity. Where did you pay that forward in your business world as you got older?
I've been a mentor officially and unofficially ever since.
Yeah.
I love helping young people learn the trade, so to speak, and analysis and decision making. And of course, the underlying current is that if you want to make a profit, you have to earn that.
Yeah.
Which means you've got to, and I believe in Jack Welch's statement, you're here to create shareholder value. That's true. And everybody loves that first sentence, but they forgot the second one. The second sentence was you create shareholder value by building the best product and giving the best service than your competition.
Yeah.
And that has somehow been forgotten, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I adhere to that.
So I want to talk about that, but I want to first talk about what makes a good mentor.
Listening, not preaching, questioning, in not in a derogatory manner, but asking the right questions
Yeah.
and hoping. I love it when somebody's eyes open up and say, "Oh wow, yeah, that makes perfect sense." It's like you see the lights go off,
Yeah.
and it's wonderful. And I've been doing it for a long time, and like I say, for instance, I'm a major supporter and have been for a very long time of the Professional Liability Underwriting Society, and they now have 40,000 members. I'm a past president of the organization back 20 years ago, and they recently announced about 3 years ago a mentorship program, and I jumped on that.
Yeah.
And they allow you to have up to 2. So every year I've mentored 2, and then even after the year is over, these people wanted to stay in contact with me, which is fine. So we still do it once a month, even though it's not through the Plus platform anymore.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. Listen, provide what knowledge or experience or in similar situations and how to handle it, so that everything is going to work the way it should, hopefully.
Yeah. Listening is becoming a little bit of a lost art. So many people are trying to kind of get their word in or their side or their opinion. I see that in my coaching business, especially when I'm working within companies, and customer service, both internally and externally, right? I'm a big believer.
Absolutely.
We have our internal clients and we have our external clients, and both
right.
require customer service. And so talk a little bit about what, your lens on that, but also
it can't be done through email. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
It can't be done through email. It cannot be done through texts.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. I am a huge believer in technology. I'm cursed with being an early adopter, for instance, and sometimes you can look forward to being fed to the best lions as a result. But my firm was very technologically advanced as an insurance brokerage. We were using high-speed internet, through DSL in 1998.
Yeah.
We went paperless in 2001. We had an interactive website in 2001. So I'm a firm believer in technology, but there's nothing to replace direct contact.
Yeah.
Pick up the gosh darn phone, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Why do you think, I have some thoughts on that, but why do you think people are so hesitant to pick up the phone? In some respects, I'm a business coach, advisor, and I work with salespeople and managers and business owners, executives. And when I'm talking to salespeople, one of the things that I talk to them about is, it's never been a better time to be in sales, because more people are scared of the phone today. More people are scared of actually going to a meeting today. They can be very courageous on Instagram, but don't know how to pick up the phone, ask for a meeting, and what to do at a meeting. And so it's a little bit of a lost art where, from my lens, I'm seeing the people who are going on more meetings, making more phone calls, grow their business faster. So can you just kind of
technology?
Yeah.
The attention span's what, 15 seconds now?
No, it's actually less than a goldfish, less than 7 seconds.
Yeah. Well, that's why. And time has become very valuable. I mean, everybody thought that technology and the usage of it was going to give you more leisure time, and the exact opposite occurred. It gave the ability to do more. And then, of course, as I had even pointed out to my staff, once we were on, DSL, we could send out a 100-page application for director and officer liability insurance to 20 insurance companies in 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Whereas before we did that, we had to fax it, and that took an hour to go to one insurance company because it was a page a minute. And so it saved us a lot of money, but I had to warn my staff, but just remember something. You send out 5 new submissions to 20 insurance companies, you're going to get back 100 quotes.
Right.
Are you ready to do that? So it's forced you to really think through, where do you want to send it? Are we sending it to an insurance company that may not be competitive? Why waste your time?
Yeah.
Why don't you send it to the one you know is going to turn it around quickly, give you the quote you need, provide the coverage the customer needs to have? That's most important. And you're done.
Yeah.
But you don't want to have a situation where you're sending one submission out to 20 insurance companies and you do that all morning long.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the problem. All of a sudden you're swamped.
Yeah. So technology is great. It has its pros and ways that we need to look at it to be efficient, but also human. It allows us to do more. I agree with everything you're saying. How do you personally unplug a little bit from it, right? So I think that's where people have a hard time finding their recalibration time, finding their pause in the moments to take a beat. How do you do it?
Well, took a while to learn the lesson, but
Yeah, yeah,
I forced myself, excuse me, to take a 10-minute break every 2 hours.
uh-huh,
Get out of the seat. Of course, now a lot of people are standing up now, which is a good idea
right,
too. But get out of the seat and walk around the office building or walk around the floor
yeah,
and get a break and give you, and maybe you want to take an idea with you, and it gives you better concentration time to actually get up and walk around a little bit, get the
yeah,
heart pumping, get everything going. And then even from the standpoint of workouts, interval sprints do the same thing.
yeah,
I mean, I get off my bike after an hour and a half, or I actually I'm doing more like 70 or 80 minutes. I get off that bike and I've been doing interval sprints for that period of time. I've got so much energy. I
yeah,
am literally ready to go out there
yeah.
and
You're ready to go.
kill. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, yeah. Why do you think it's so hard for people, and how do you, as a business leader, encourage people to do it within your own business, and give them permission to do it, so they don't feel like they're looked at in a negative light?
You do it explicitly. That way, you're giving them explicit permission. This is what you need to do. It's going to make you more productive. I'm not going to make you do it, but if you want to do it, it's okay.
Yeah,
Take a quick break every 2 hours and walk around, get out in the hallways and start walking around a little bit, jog. If you want to take your phone with you, fine, but I would prefer you not. Just think about what you're into and what you're trying to solve right
yeah,
now. Come back with clarity. Worked great.
yeah. So you have a lot of energy. You've been in the business for over 50 years, the insurance space. You seem like you're not slowing down anytime soon.
Nope.
Um, what's the secret to your energy, Fred?
uh, Healthy eating. And I've got my wife to thank for that.
Yeah,
She's very medically oriented. So, it's like, and she makes sure that I do the things I'm supposed to be doing.
yeah,
And on top of it, I've been exercising, like I said, 6 days a week now for 20 years. And I'm not talking little, Mickey Mouse stuff. I'm doing some serious workouts.
yeah,
And so physically, I'm very good shape. None of my doctors can bend over and touch their
yeah,
toes. I can.
yeah, yeah. Right. It's like George Burns. I remember, I read a book of his. And I think it was when he turned 100 or something. I can't remember when he died,
Oh,
but
he was phenomenal.
yeah. And he wrote a book, and he said, every one of my doctors that told me to quit smoking a cigar, they're all dead.
Well, there
Yeah,
is something about that. I mean,
yeah,
smoking is not healthy. There's no question about it. Some people, you know, get sick right away from it. Some people get cancer from it, and some people never get
yeah,
have anything
yeah,
happen. And so part of
yeah. You
that's
never
genetic.
know.
Part of it's genetic.
Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. I want to talk just about mindset for a little bit. I mean, nature or nurture your happiness. I mean, you seem to be a very joyful, happy person. Nature or nurture?
Uh, I hope that may seem nuts, especially with recent events, but I've been a deadhead since 1967, and so I literally every night before I go to bed, I've got a couple of really beautiful songs that are in my, or more than a couple, but I have a list of songs, and I'll pick two of them to listen
Yeah,
to before I go to bed. And there is nothing like a Jerry solo,
yeah.
someone was, and it's like, that's it for me.
That's your meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And everybody may have their own answer to that.
yeah,
It may be an aria, an operatic aria that'll do it for you, or something classical, or maybe
yeah,
a classical guitarist. But music to me is like, oh my God, it's transcending.
yeah, yeah. Classical music is that for me.
There you go.
And
Mozart concertos.
yeah, I love classical music, and it
The
just
cascading scales at
takes me
Mozart.
to a place. Yeah, I just love it. I love it.
Well, Jerry Garcia played a lot of the same cascading scales that Mozart did
Yeah,
in the pentatonic area.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So you've been in business over 50 years. You know, you learned how to cook in France by selling your way into the opportunity. What's one thing, what's one do-over? What's the biggest lesson that you've learned in business?
I don't think I sh- I don't think I was wrong to do it when I did, but I think I sold my company in 2008. And I kind of wish I'd waited another 4 years.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. My favorite podcast is called Founders. I don't know if you've ever listened to it. David Senra Founders,
Yeah, I've
where
heard
he
one.
reads. It's amazing, and he reads all of the autobiographies of every founder that has died, and now he just started interviewing ones that are living. And a common through line is that um, the people that sold wish they never did, and they some who are alive reference and say, if this podcast had been around, I probably wouldn't have sold. And so why in hindsight, why do you look back and think that?
Oh, and number one, the EBITDA factor would have been much higher. But
Yeah,
the real reason was I think I could have made better choices. Or the first choice I made wasn't a bad one. It was just bad timing. But I think I would have been able to pick the right partner because we were highly specialized. Other firms like ours were more generalized and
yeah,
may or may not even have done what we were doing. So it was that's rare. That's not easy to find.
yeah,
But they were out there. And so we wanted to be we were looking for somebody we could complement, but we also needed somebody that had a national platform, whereas
yeah,
we were regional. And to be able to compete with the big boys, you had to be national.
yeah,
And so I realized that in 2005 or six was that you went to bed on went home on Friday night and you were doing just fine regionally. On Monday morning, all of a sudden you're finding you're competing with national chains
yeah,
that you didn't previously exist.
yeah,
And that
yeah,
was all done by acquisition and private equity companies. But on
yeah,
the same token, it was also an equal opportunity because right now, with the kind of consolidation that's been going on, not just in the insurance industry, mind you, but in all industries,
yeah,
consumers have a lot less choice than they used to.
yeah,
And so competing with the big boys is actually easier than it is because they're dealing with strict rules. Their products are turning into garbage because private equity companies care about short-term profit, and we don't care what we're ruining to get it.
yeah,
And so if you are prepared, basically, because insurance is really a service-based business, you're not selling a widget, you're selling a service ultimately.
yeah,
And the policyholder or the consumer doesn't know whether they've got a decent product or not until they need it. And that's not when you want a surprise.
yeah,
This is something that the big boys don't care about. They don't care if you're selling you a crappy product. And the private equity companies don't care either because they're on a 3-year or less turnaround. And so by the time that the stuff hits the fan, they're gone. They don't care. They don't care that they've driven an insurance company into the ground. They don't care that they've driven an agency into the ground. They don't care. They've cashed out. But the consumer, they're left holding the bag.
yeah,
And to tell you how bad it is today, 37 states follow what's called the order taker standard of care for an insurance broker or insurance agent. In other words, they have no duty to advise you. California is one of them, believe it or not. Florida holds insurance producers to a fiduciary standard. Go figure that. But they have no duty to advise you. In other words, they have about as much obligation to you as your server at your favorite restaurant.
yeah,
And so you as a consumer are supposed to know better about how to buy insurance and what hazards need to be covered than the person who's been selling it all his life. That's absurd.
So what does the consumer need to do from your perspective to advocate for themselves and make sure that they're getting the right information and researching and studying, et cetera?
That's exactly what they're going to have to do. A little more research on how to cover their needs. And more importantly, make sure you make it clear to your insurance producer what you expect and not to over generalized.
Yeah.
Telling them I want the best coverage at the best price is way too general. It
Yeah.
has no merit to it at all. But
Yeah.
if you say, I expect you to sit down with me and explain to me my policy because you deal with it every day, I don't.
Yeah.
And believe me, these policies are intentionally written to be as complicated as possible.
Yeah. But if we go back and we just kind of look at everything that we're talking about today, using the technology that's so readily available and taking responsibility to come to the table more educated, I think that is
you can do that.
That is a huge plus of technology. And I think even to your point, like with ChatGPT, you could say, I'm going to meet with, my fill in the blank. What are 10 thought-provoking questions that I need to be asking that I'm not thinking about for A, B, and C? I think ChatGPT is great for stuff like that.
It can be, but it sometimes gives you the wrong information too.
No, but if I'm saying, give me 10 questions to ask.
I understand that, but even the questions might miss the mark because there's other things that you may not realize. For instance, if you provide a professional service for a fee, you're out there broadcasting. That's a media liability exposure. So if you think that your advertising and personal injury, that's what it's called, advertising and personal injury coverage in your general liability policy covers you're dead wrong because there's an exclusion for professional services.
Yeah.
So now you need a professional service policy in addition to your CGL. And you have to be worried about, number one, does it really cover the services that you're providing? And number two, does it use what's called absolute exclusions? Don't even get me started on that.
All right. Well, but I think what you're saying is what I'm hearing you say is, think community, make sure when you pick someone, you're picking someone that is sitting down, finding I'll call it a sacred space to ask you questions, guide you along, ask you questions that you may not be thinking about. So picking the right person is.
You want to make sure they're giving you the service you need and the analysis you need.
Yeah.
They should be telling you need professional liability as well as general liability. You need workers' comp. Make them do and put it in writing. Yeah. Document everything in writing.
Yeah.
If it's not written down, it didn't happen.
That is a great business advice. All right, Fred, quick speed round. A book that made a big impact on you.
Ooh, there's been so many. Dostoevsky, for one. Wonderful stories with lots of themes. Art of Loving.
All right, good. Best piece of advice you've ever gotten.
I'm sorry, what?
Best piece of advice you've ever received.
Wow. Do your homework.
Define yourself in one word.
Crazy.
That's a good one. Okay. Tell everybody what you do, where they can connect with you, and what type of client you want to connect with.
I'm a specialist in professional liability and specialty lines insurance. I can be reached on my website, which is Fisher, SHER, CG.com. It's FisherCG.com is my website. If you are a professional of any kind, even providing consulting services or miscellaneous services, you want to read my book, Claims Made Insurance, the policy that changed the industry. As dangerous a policy and filled with gotchas that'll get you like you wouldn't believe. By the way, that's a trademark of mine. It's gotcha.
I saw that. Yeah. I knew you'd bring it up in the review. So, Fred, this was great. I really appreciate it. Think community. Great advice on advocating for yourself and making sure that you're not only listening, but also asking questions. This was great. Fred, I appreciate your time. I love your stories. Congratulations on selling your company, all your success, and having the boldness early on to
Can I leave you with one thought?
Of course.
Never stop learning.
Yeah, never. Yeah. I'm a huge learner. My dad was that way. I can't go a day without it. It's the best. So no, I think that's a great thing to end on. Think community, thank you so much. If you want to reach out to Fred, please do. If you want to reach out to me, johndwoskin.com. Fred, thank you. This was great. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, everybody.